it's like this, and so they know all the lingo of what to say, like to be more grounded, to feel the connection, to feel the music, to feel your partner's way, to change way was, you know all the hot, but like the buzzwords, but they haven't really sunk into your own dance. All right, we are back with another one, and we're going to talk about one that's actually pretty personal, and it's about how good are you really? So tango is a very interesting one because unlike other things where if you delegate enough time, you can simply say, you can show how good you are at particular craft or thing that you do. Well, with tango, it's a little bit more complex than that because oftentimes we see a lot of people dedicate years and years and years, and maybe they think they are better than they are, and maybe they aren't really as good as they had hoped to be. And so it's a tricky one to decide, how good are you really, and what is the measurement? Like, how do you define what makes someone good at tango?
Yeah, that's tough because I've gotten, when I first started, I would say, and looking back, I've definitely had a chip on my shoulder, and I had quite an overblown ego. And it took the competition to knock me down a few blocks. So, after a while, 3 or 4 attempts going, man, I haven't made it past qualifiers since the first time I did it. That really took me back. And then I have to ask myself, am I really that good? And if I'm really that good, why am I getting knocked out all the time? So that was the first thing. But it's really easy to go back to the milongas and keep on going, I get all the dances I want. Everyone, there's so many ladies who want to dance with me, and you get your ego pumped up and you think you're really, really good. But, honestly, where I stand now, I don't even I have a hard time assessing if I'm good or not. Because
what if those people just dance with you because they're your friends? What if those people just dance with you because
there aren't enough guys?
Exactly, there are not enough better options.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like I'm always stuck in this moment where I don't know, and I think where I am now, I just kind of accept that I don't know. I'm just trying to be better than yesterday.
But you say that you want to be better than yesterday. But then how do you know that you got better than yesterday?
I don't. I have to trust the process, man. That's,
what process?
Well, right now the process is stage, so okay. That's the process. The process of really cleaning up my fundamentals, really making sure every step is almost picture perfect, and I plan to go back into competition. So then the competition is kind of a measurement of how good am I really, because it's really hard to say you're really good if you're not too sure why people dance with you.
I always erred on the side of being more humble than being more braggadocious. So I feel like if you're a little bit more humble and to say that, you can get better and that there's many things to improve on, that even if I'd rather have somebody else qualify that I'm good rather than say I'm good myself.
Yeah, but how many people tell you that and you're still not too sure? Because there have been times where I've taken classes from teachers, and they're longtime friends. I've had a good relationship with them, and they'll go, "Rob, you're doing really well. You're doing really well," I'm like, I'm still getting knocked out. Like, what's going on? Is it the level of the competition, or am I really just not that good? It's hard to say, but I think since joining the stage, this is the first time judges have gone up to me and said, "Hey, I really like what you did out there." They didn't say good, but they actually went up and said, "I really like what you did out there," and that was the first time someone who doesn't really know me, actually made that qualification, and that's why I think I'm on the right path.
I can hear some people out there already thinking, well, who cares what other people think? If you feel good, you feel good. I think the only thing that I take solace in is when a follower will want to dance multiple tandas with me, that's one. they give me a compliment after we dance, like, oh, you're so amazing or something. That's two. Or they text me after a marathon, milonga, or festival and say, thank you so much for the dances. I hope to see you next time.
And I think at the end of the day, I just kind of go, well, these are people I like dancing with, and they accept my dance. That's really all I have, you know. Besides competition, I really don't know.
Are we too scared to be honest with other people? Like, because we don't want to hurt someone's feelings, so we rather say, good job, and try to motivate people to keep going, rather than say, give them the bitter, harsh truth and say, yeah, your walk is terrible, your embrace is stiff.
Well, I think, you know, for me, I have a hard time with that because, you know, I might say a few things to help someone out, but then I come back and go, well, who am I to say these things? You know, I'm not like a Mundial winner. I'm not a, you know, U.S. national finalist. I'm not a, you know, so.
But your job is to give them the honest truth, and that will possibly help them to change something.
Yeah, but what if my honest truth is just like full of hot air? I might think something, but am I qualified to actually say it? You know?
Who cares if it's qualified as long as that person hears it and gets the change that they need?
No, I hear you, and that's a nice thought. Because, but the other thing is, what if you say something negative or critical so that they could come to a point where they could change for the better? But then they have all these teachers who keep on telling them, "You're doing a great job. Everyone loves you. I love you." You know, and then it's kind of like, Rob, what are you talking about? Like all these like maestros say I'm great, you know.
So you're saying that we coddle each other way too much?
I would say that in America we definitely do coddle each other, and even until I started studying with Carlos, like Carlos, he's a tough guy, and he actually told me like, hey, I know you can do a lot better, and right now you're only at 25% of what I think is good. I mean, better than 20, because like last year I was at 20%, so there's some gains. But you know, he definitely said there's a big road ahead of me, and when there are days when I'm not doing well, he'll just tell me like, dude, you look like crap. So, you know, he's probably one of the few teachers who actually will tell me that.
I think the nightmare is that you invest all of this time and you expect to be good after a certain time frame. If I put in more than 5 years of doing something, I don't want to be some rookie after 5 years or an amateur still. I want to be considered good.
I understand that, but you know, I'm gonna segue into some of my other things that I do that are not tango, and I think this comes back down to being a hobbyist versus being a professional versus being a semi-pro person. Where you want to go or how you want to grade this. So, in judo and jiu-jitsu, for example, like I'm a hobbyist. Am I a good hobbyist? Yeah, I'm a good hobbyist, but I'm not going to jump into the UFC. I'm not going to be a professional fighter. I'm not an Olympic hopeful. So I have a specific grading scale, and I know I'm not that. So I'm not going to compare myself to that. And I like my progress the way I'm going. I'm going to be a lifelong learner in this art, and that's it. That's just something that I do to enjoy myself.
But see, the problem with that is that you just qualified yourself as a lifelong learner.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people in tango, once they feel like they've gotten to a certain point, which is good in their minds, they're like, yeah, I don't need to take any more classes. I don't need to take any more lessons. I'm good.
Yeah, I hear you, but and that's okay. That's okay if they want to do that. That's okay if that's where they want to stop. That's how much they want to invest. They want to spend all their money into festivals, marathons, and whatnot, and they just want to every once in a while maybe have like 2 private lessons to tune up and maybe a workshop from an international teacher. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I think we all decide where we want to go and where our summit is, you know, and it's not for everybody to really strive and be at a professional level. I mean, good. We can talk about good, we can qualify good, but good to what? Like what level? I mean, it's easier to say, is this person dancing to a professional level? And I think that's a lot easier to qualify, to say, you know, hey, Derek, are you dancing as well as, let's say, Brian and Yuli or Jerry and Christine or some of the other teachers? That's a lot easier to qualify. But then if you're out there to do a comparison against the hobbyists or the amateurs, it's kind of like, well, who's good? I have a different opinion of good or whatever. But so I think that's one dividing line we can talk about is, uh, do people want to be good to a professional level, or do they want to be good to have access to all the dances they want at the Malanga because that's their summit.
Okay, so let's take those hobbyists out of the equation. What about the more enthusiasts that do take a lot of workshops, that do take a lot of classes, and continue to take these classes, but still maybe they're not as good as they think they are?
Yeah, and that's possible. I mean, I think I suffered from that from early on. So,
But they're going to qualify their skill based on how many classes they take, how many lessons they've taken, how many years they've danced.
yep. And how many times have we seen that? Like, where someone goes in, they're like, I've been dancing for 20 years, I've taken like so-and-so workshops, I've taken like classes from all the international, superstars. You see it all the time.
Okay, how about this? We'll be more specific. How do you know that you've had a good night?
Well, when I go home happy. that's I guess.
But that could be anything. Like
that could be. You're right.
that could be you you had a great slice of cake at the end and it made you happy.
Yeah, that's true, and I think that's what I think that's why I don't really go out to the Malongas that much anymore, because for me, my summit or where I want to go to is based on competition, and I'm not going to qualify good or bad or anything based on how many dances I get. So in terms of when I want to go out and when I go out, I want to go home happy. That's all I really care about. Qualifications of good or bad, it's out the door. My qualification of good or bad or what I strive for is strictly in the competition.
Okay, but that's the exception. There's not that many people that are competition driven.
No, I know.
They're more socially based.
Yeah.
So your advice to the social dancer who goes to the Malanga, how do they define if they had a good night?
Well, it's however they want to define it because it comes back down to is whatever makes them happy and continue to strive to be better. There are days there are days I've gone to like some Malanga where no one knows me. I've been shut out.
Skunked.
Yeah. So there's nothing wrong with that. Does that mean I'm bad? If I have an off night, does that mean I'm really bad? I mean, you're gonna have good nights. You're gonna have bad nights. You're gonna have nights where nothing works. You're gonna have nights where the stars align. You're getting like even the professionals want to dance with you. Things just happen. I'm the wrong person to ask for this question because I'm more concerned about my happiness and another person's happiness. So if you're happy, then whether you're good or bad, does it really matter?
Honestly, most Malangas, I'm pretty happy afterwards.
Yeah.
I rarely have these quote unquote bad nights.
Yeah, I mean, but it does happen every once in a while. I mean, we try harder or whatever.
Okay.
But I guess what it comes back down to is that, like, let's say you're happy, you have a lot of good nights, right? You're dancing with the people you want to dance with, whatever. Well, let's just say someone just says, Derek, you're not that good. Does that bother you?
I will say, well, what things do you think I need to work on? I know I need to work on a lot of things, but I'd be curious to know how they came to that conclusion.
Yeah, okay. But ultimately, it wouldn't like set you off. It wouldn't, throw your game off or anything. And I think that's what it comes back down to is that, I guess for me, I'm more concerned about a person's spiritual and mental security. And I'm more concerned about if they're going to still stick with it. Because, how many people have you seen? I know several people who think they're good, they went into competition, they got blown away in qualifiers, and then they disappeared from tango. That's something I don't want to see.
I just never wanted to be that person that's touting how good they are and knows all the buzzwords and all the key terms. Like, those people that say, yeah, it's this way. My teacher, I remember they said it's like this. And so they know all the lingo of what to say, like to be more grounded, to feel the connection, to feel the music, to feel your partner's way, to change way. All the hot but like the buzzwords, but they haven't really sunk into your own dance.
Yeah.
But you know all the things to say.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I would say this. I would say it's more important to be respected. You know, I think that's if you're only concerned about social dancing, it's more it's I think it's more about respect that you have in the community and and how people view you. So whether they view you good or bad or whatever, I think that's irrelevant. I think it more matters if they respect your opinions, they respect your word, they respect your diligence. Because there are people who just work really, really hard, but they just don't really get anywhere, and that's okay. But people still respect that, you know.
Do they though?
I think well, hey, you might not get all the dances you want, right? But at least it's still respectable. I mean, okay, what would you who do you think is more respectable? The guy who tries hard, you know, but he's not that good, or the guy who's not that good and boasts about it?
Yeah.
You know, and there are people who boast about it, but they got the goods. They got the goods to back it up.
Right.
So they're still respected. Okay. So I mean, I guess since I always go for low-hanging fruit, I would say let's start with respect. Are you respected in the community, and what does it take to actually earn that respect?
I think you earn respect by dancing with the more acclaimed or desired dancers. I think that's what garners respect at first.
Yeah. Okay, but you can do that through popularity. You can do that by buying your way in. Does that really mean you're good?
It doesn't mean you're good. I think those are two very different things.
Yeah.
Respect and good are two very different things.
Yeah. But then I guess what it comes back down to is that you can still buy your way in there, right? And be respected. But that level of respect is
it's cheapened.
It's more short term because the minute you have a bad day, they're all gone. You need to be careful about the respect we have and the longevity of it. And I think that will say more about your standing with the community and how people view you and how people want to dance with you, rather than the person who just boasts about everything, just pisses everybody off. And
okay, what about if this person that boasts a lot is a close friend of yours? Do you tell them they're not that good?
Ooh, well, it depends how close, you know. I mean,
well, even just a casual, you know their name, you see them at every Malanga. Do you tell that person eventually, dude, you're not that good?
It's like I do everything by case thing, because some people, I'll tell them that. You know, I'll say, hey, I'll sit them down like, you know, I don't go up flat out just say, hey, you're not that good. I'll say, hey, you know what, I like the energy you have, I like your passion, but I think you can work on X, Y, Z things, you know? And I'll say, like, I think these are the holes in your game.
Okay.
That's a softer way to put it, you know, but it's still,
it still stings.
It still stings, but it's better than saying, "Hey, man, you suck." Like you get I'm not doing the whole Top Gun going, "Your ego sign checks, your body can't cash." You know, it's not that. It's not that. You know, it's at least it's like, "Hey, man, you know, you made strides. You're well respected, but you still got holes in your game. And let's like you might want to think about patching those things up if you really want to hold your place. You know." As for the people, there are other people like I won't say a thing because I feel like I don't have the juice to say anything. Like I've had friends who I don't think they're really all that great, but they think they are. But it's kind of hard to say anything when they take lessons from like super maestros, traveling maestros, and they're like, oh, you're doing great, and because they're just cashing out. And I remember one time I actually told a friend of mine, just to her face, I'm like, because she's like, oh, everyone loves dancing with me, like, and everyone says I'm great, and I just told, I don't like dancing with you. And then and then we didn't talk to each other for like 3 years.
Oh my goodness.
So
so that didn't work.
No, well we talk to each other now, but like it took 3 years, and it was a falling out, but like. It's a touchy subject, and you have to kind of measure how people react to things. Sometimes I'll say something, sometimes I don't, and usually I don't unless I have a really, really strong relationship with them where I know they're mature enough to actually sit down and explore the idea. So it's tough, but I think if anything, people should do two things. One, they should actually just sign up for a competition. I know, like, not everyone likes competition.
Yeah, people don't like
I
competition.
hear you. I hear you.
Keep throwing that out
I
there like
hear you.
everyone loves it.
But you know what? It's an easy way to figure out if you're good or not.
But they don't want to do that.
Well, the second thing is, like, take a private with your instructor and just tell them straight out, like, hey, look, I'm paying you to tell me the truth. You know, this isn't going to stop me. Or you know, buy a package first. Buy your 5 package, and because then if you're going to leave them, at least you still have to take 4 more privates with them. Buy a package of 5 and just straight up just say, hey, I want to be better, and the only way for me to be better is I'm paying you for a 5-pack to tell me the truth. So you tell me the truth right now, so we have 4 more private lessons to work on this, and that might work. You know, it's kind of funny because I've said that to Carlos. I'm like, hey man, like I'm paying you to tell me the truth, and that's pretty much it. It's not there. I don't need any sugarcoating, especially if I'm gearing towards competition. I need to know, like, where I stand.
I think you can learn the lingo. I think you can learn the insight, but I don't think you absorb it into your body until later on.
Yeah, no, that's true, and I think that's very true because it's really easy to parrot stuff.
Yeah, like a resume. Oh, I took this person's workshop, I took this private lesson, and they gave me the secret magic sauce, and now I have it in me.
Yeah.
Not necessarily. Probably not at all.
Yeah, but I guess the question is, how does that stop someone from being good? You know, like, how do you, like, I
It
guess...
stops you from being good because you stop trying because you think you got it.
Yeah, but how do you know, but how do you really know you got it or not?
I think that once you really got it, it comes out of nowhere, and you realize it without even thinking about it. One day you start working on stuff and you're dancing and you're like, wait, you feel a different sensation and something sparks in your mind and you go, oh, that thing that teacher told me 2 years ago, I get it now.
Yeah, so here's the hard part of that, because remember we did the whole thing about, you know, learning the journey of tango. We're like, oh, I got it now, but then like I don't got it, and then, you know, so what is it really? You know, we are kind of contradicting ourselves here.
Yeah.
You know,
but you get it. I guess you don't get it, but you get more towards the path.
Yeah, but how much do you need to get before you can qualify good? And how do you know, are you at 10%, 20%, 50%? You know, I mean, it's kind of hard.
To me, you qualify as good if you dance with somebody that's very well acclaimed and they are excited to dance with you.
Okay, well, what if they're excited to dance with you because, again, like the qualifiers, which is you're the best thing there, but you're the best thing there, but the level's not that high, you know? I mean, how many times have you gone to a Malanga and you're like, oh, well, you know, it's a fun Malanga, but the level's not that great. You know,
Yeah, that's a fair point.
So again, I think it's hard to say. I think we make up stories for ourselves to feel better. I mean, whether they're qualified or not, that's a different story. But I think at the end of the day, I mean, I repeat whatever mantra in my head to make myself feel better. You know, and maybe that feel better is like, hey, I suck less, and that's okay. You know, and it's hard because for me, you know, I kind of had a chip on my shoulder for a long time. And then, like, now, I mean, I feel that, especially after not organizing anymore, I feel like I don't get as many dances as I used to. So it's kind of like, so I went through the whole phase of...
Gotta prove myself all over again.
No, that wasn't that. It was just more of, was I only good because people wanted...
something from you?
Yeah, because I was an organizer? Or did I get worse? You know, over time because I wasn't taking classes anymore, and I was just servicing the community and dancing with the lowest denominator because they were sitting out all the time. I mean, I don't know. So I think at the end of the day, it's just, you know, whatever makes you happy.
Honestly, if I was going to break down another definition of good for me, is that I'm able to make any person of any level feel good or feel generally excited or feel nice about the dance that we had.
Okay. Okay.
No matter what their experience is, right? If it's like their second week, I could just hopefully find something in how I changed the weight that they go, oh, wow,
Yeah.
that's something that I feel qualifies as good.
Okay. That's. I think that's a nice way to put it. But I mean, again, it's like for me, I don't know. Because sometimes they just go, oh, so like what if they're just lonely people who just like to be hugged, and they're like, oh, I've never been hugged for that long. This is nice.
Well,
Yeah.
even so, then you know how to pause, and you know how to embrace, and know how to take it slow and be subtle.
Yeah, but what if that's just like the, like the threshold is so low that anyone could have done that. That's what I mean. Like,
You'd be surprised.
yeah, I know you'd be
You'd
surprised.
be surprised.
I know. Sometimes it's like, don't be creepy. That makes you good. So I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, okay, how about this? How do you qualify? Like, how would a woman know that she's good? Like, what makes you go out of your way and say you're one of my favorite dancers? I think it's easier to go from that point rather than the other point, because when you self-assess yourself, like I've seen it, especially in tennis, everyone ranks themselves as one level up than they really are. They're like, I'm a 5.0 player. Like, no, buddy, you're like 4.0, 3.5. And the way for tennis, when people tell me they're like a 4.0, 4.5 player, I'm like, okay, do you play 4.0, 4.5 tournaments?
No.
And if you do, how far do you get?
Get eliminated in the first round.
Yeah, it's like anyone could sign up and get eliminated in the first round. That's what I mean. That's why I don't like self-assessments, because it's so easy to either be overly critical or to be overly kind to yourself.
Here's the tough one that you bring up. So evaluating followers, if they're good or not, is tough, because immediately the first thing that comes to mind is, well, the people that are dancing a lot, the people that keep getting asked. But again, that doesn't necessarily qualify them as good. People could be attracted to them. Yeah. People could have maybe they're super friendly and just easy and easygoing and easy to deal with.
Yeah, or they could be super aggressive with their asking and no one said no to them.
Sure.
It happens.
And then the person that's really super pro and super good is sitting out because everyone's intimidated by them.
That's true.
So it's hard to...
Yeah, but I mean, okay, let's say you dance with someone really, really good. What do you do? Do you go out and message them and say, thank you for the ton, that was amazing? Do you do that? Or do you like, what do you do? Do you ask for a second tonner right away? Like, what are signs that guys give off to say, you know what, you're really good? And how do they know that it's really good as in their merit?
Not the attraction.
Yeah, because...
Oh, that's tough.
No, because I think that's a legitimate question.
It is legitimate. I've done all the things that you said, but I've also done it. I also haven't done it. So I have messaged people. It was great to meet you. Thanks for the dances. Hope to see you at another festival. I've done that. But then there are some dancers that I am absolutely amazed by. Never messaged them, and I only danced one tanda with them in the festival, and it was my favorite tanda. But they don't know that. I only danced one tanda with them, but it blew my mind. But I don't tell them that. Okay. So that's interesting.
Okay, so this is me, and I would say, if I think you're a good dancer, there's a good chance I'm reaching out to practice with you. I'm reaching out to possibly be your partner. And if I'm doing all that and I haven't asked you on a date, if I don't ask you on a date and I'm doing all that, that's probably a good qualifier that you're pretty darn good. No, I think that's legitimate, because like if I'm attracted to you,
right,
I'm probably gonna ask you on a date before I say, hey, let's take a private together. I think that's very true to me. You'd probably figure out if I'm asking you on a date or not.
If you're really good, usually I go for the multiple tandas unless they say thank you, and then that ends the chance of multiple tanda.
All right.
So that's usually but then I do dance multiple tandas with a lot of people.
Well, maybe.
But then I do dance with a lot of good people. So
yeah. So I think it's easier for us to say what we do And if you've seen us do that, chances are we think you're good. But we'd like to hear from you. What do you do, ladies? What do you do to let a guy know he's good? And other guys out there, what do you do to let the follows know that they're good? You know, so
It's a good one, and we would love to hear it in the comments, and we would love to hear your feedback. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to another episode of Left Foot, Right Foot, and we will catch you on the next one.
thank you for watching the latest episode of Left Foot, Right Foot. Please click the subscribe button and the notification bell to keep up to date with our latest videos. We greatly appreciate it.
Also, if you can, click the like button. It really helps us with the algorithm. Where our goal is really to make tango, social tango in the community more available to the mass public. And that's pretty much our goal with the whole channel. So if you could click that like button, it really goes a long way. Thank y'all so much.